Hello. Do you recall what the gas prices were in January 1998? Do you know what the top played music songs were in January 1998? For the month of January in the year 1998, the generation is Generation Z or post millennial. The Chinese zodiac is the ox tiger, and the star sign is Capricorn. According to a survey conducted on January 23rd, 1998, a weighted average of all gas prices was $1.15 per gallon. I wish that was like what it is now. It's at about almost $3, but $1.15 would be pretty nice. The top played songs in January '98 were "Truly Madly Deeply" by Savage Garden and "Together Again" by Janet Jackson. Personally, I've never heard those songs in my entire life, and I should give them a listen. It'd be pretty cool to hear what the top two played songs were in the month and year that I was born. Next, I'm going to explain some events that occurred during the month and year that I was born, which was January '98. Some of these events were very important in United States history. Some of them are just kind of nonsense facts, but still cool to learn about. So what went on during that month and year. To start, January 1st, the U.S. Census Bureau estimated the population to be at 268,921,733 people. The 84th Rose Bowl occurred when number one ranked Michigan beat number eight ranked Washington State 21-16. Also on that date, all California bars, clubs, and card rooms were to be smoke free. Now that is obviously a big movement or the start of a movement. Nowadays, most clubs, bars, restaurants are all smoke free. So that was a big event that started a lot. January 2nd, autopsy of Chris Farley shows he overdosed of opioids and cocaine. Chris Farley was a star in the movie Tommy Boy. I hope all of you have seen the movie Tommy Boy. It's a great movie, one of my favorites. January 4th, massive ice storm hits eastern Canada and northeastern United States, continuing through January 10th and causing widespread destruction. The next day, January 5th, the same ice storm knocks out electricity in Quebec and Ontario. January 7th, former White House intern Monica Lewinsky signs an affidavit denying she had an affair with President Bill Clinton. Obviously, that's a big event. Many people know about that. January 8th, Unabomber suspect Ted Kaczynski asked to act as his own lawyer. On that same day, World Trade Center bomber Ramzi Ahmed Youssef was sentenced to life. January 9th, Hockey News selects Wayne Gretzky as the best NHL player ever. I've heard a lot about Wayne Gretzky. I never got to experience that time where he kind of dominated the NHL. My dad said it was always amazing to watch. January 10th, Vancouver Canucks veteran center Mark Messier, who is a Hall of Famer, became the sixth player in NHL history to record 1,000 assists in his career. It's a pretty amazing accomplishment. January 11th, the NFL AFC Championship game, the Denver Broncos defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-21. That same day, the NFL NFC Championship game, so the other conference, the Green Bay Packers defeated the San Francisco 49ers 23-10. January 12th, 19 European nations agree to forbid human cloning. The next day, January 13th, CBS pays $4 billion to televise NFL AFC games for 8 years. So the contract CBS signed with the NFL was 8 years, $4 billion. It's kind of a lot of money, I think. January 14th, the 1000th episode of Ellen airs. Obviously, that show still airs. On that same day, Charles Barkley, an NBA superstar at that point, pleads not guilty to an assault charge. January 15th, NASA announces John Glenn, who was 76 at the time, may fly in space again. Um, Dino Ciccarelli, who played for the Detroit Red Wings, and he was a hockey Hall of Famer. Was traded from the Tampa Bay Lightning to the Florida Panthers, and that was his fifth NHL team. January 17th, U.S. President Bill Clinton faces sexual harassment charges from Paula Jones. January 18th, the 48th NHL All-Star Game that took place at the General Motors Place in Vancouver, British Columbia. The MVP of that game was Teemu Selanne, who played for the Anaheim Ducks at the time. Also on January 18th, the Boston Celtics retired Robert Parrish's number 00. What a number, 00. January 20th, Warner Brothers TV network begins Tuesday night programming. January 21st, Pope John Paul II visits Cuba. January 22nd, my birthday. Shout out to me, or shout out to my parents, actually. January 22nd, NHL Minnesota franchises selects the name Wild, so now they're the Minnesota Wild. On that same day, January 22nd, Ricky Henderson rejoins the Oakland A's for the fourth time in his career. This is an interesting fact that I didn't know. The World League of American Football was renamed as NFL Europe. I've never heard of that in my entire life, and that was kind of neat to learn. January 23rd, Pope John Paul II condemns U.S. embargo against Cuba. January 23rd, Denver Nuggets tie an NBA single season record for 23 consecutive losses. That's not a good streak. Obviously, you want to be on the other end of that. Maybe a winning streak would be nice. On that same day, the 23rd of January, Michael Jordan scores double figures for his 800th consecutive game. He would add 40 more before retiring that same year. January 25th, Spice Girl Victoria Posty, obviously she's kind of famous. She got engaged to soccer player David Beckham. January 25th, Super Bowl 32 took place at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, California. The Denver Broncos defeated the Green Bay Packers 34-21. The MVP of that game was Terrell Davis, who was Denver's running back. Also on that same day, the 25th, Pope John Paul II demands the release of political prisoners in Cuba. He also condemns the U.S. moves to isolate the country. January 26th, President Clinton, this is a very famous quote, I guarantee you've heard of this. President Clinton says, "I want to say one thing to the American people. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky." January 27th, a crane crashes into Roosevelt Island tram in New York City, injuring 10 people. I would think a crane crashing would cause a lot more damage, but luckily only 10 people were hurt. January 28th, Michelangelo's Christ and the Woman of Samaria painting was sold for $7.4 million. That's wild for a painting. January 29th, singer Bobby Brown was found guilty of a DWI in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. January 30th, Howard Stern radio show premieres in Indianapolis, Indiana on the WNAP 93.1 FM. January 31st, STS-89, Endeavour 12 lands back on Earth after orbiting. After doing some research about my month and birth year, which was January 1998, I learned a lot about certain events and important events that occurred, and it was very neat to get to know a little bit more about the time when I was born. I really appreciate all of you watching and taking part in this learning experience. Thank you very much.